So we've been talking about what it means to live the kingdom. And Derek led us up now and kicked us off into the Sermon on the Mount. And right here, Jesus in the Beatitudes, as he pointed out, is really establishing the values of the kingdom. And they're very different than the values of this world. And so we want to really, as we learn and continue to grow in our understanding of what it means to embrace the values of the kingdom and to live that out, we have to really meditate and ask ourselves, what does this text mean? And Jesus really flips the values of this world's kingdom on its head and has us think differently. And I'm just going to give just one as an example here. We have the first beatitude: blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And as Derek pointed out, that word makarios, blessed, is really a very rich and full word. And in many ways, it can be blessed as it can be happy, it can be fortunate, you could be a recipient of divine favor, but it really has this idea of you've experienced this fullness and this goodness and this richness in your life, which is a blessing. So we see that that is the state. And how do you get to that state? Well, blessed are the poor in spirit. The poor in spirit. We'll come back to that. For, since, because why? Why are the poor blessed? And it's because theirs is the kingdom of heaven, God's kingdom. And the people that actually get God's kingdom, that actually become recipients and inherit the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, and receive that blessing, are the poor in spirit. It's not the rich, it's not the powerful, it's not those who think that they are good enough, but it's those who really come to the end of themselves and who realize, I am spiritually bankrupt. I have need. I'm not good enough. And at that point, it's those kinds of people that are the ones that actually inherit the kingdom of heaven, that actually get the blessing. In the book of Revelation, John is writing to one of the churches, I believe it's the church of Laodicea, and he talks about how they're really ultimately poor. They're not blessed because they've become fat and full of themselves and superficial. They're not poor in spirit. And so in times of life, when we look at our own spiritual state, we need to ask ourselves, are we poor in spirit? Do we still recognize our ever daily need for God's mercy and grace and our ever constant failure? And yet in the midst of that failure, when we become poor in the end of ourselves, we realize the riches of his grace. And so take time, even this week, to meditate on the Beatitudes and let us discover together and really reflect on these things of what it means to live out the values of the kingdom. It will enrich us, it will inspire us, and it will really charge us as we are now learning what it means to be the church here in Fort Mill and to embody those values in our local community.